incredibly rich country dating back thousands of years, this country is now known for its continual state of rapid development that pushes the limits of possibility. But despite being modern, its society and culture is steeped with the deepest of traditions. These stark contradictions make Japan always a fascinating country to visit. Join me as I once again embark on an adventure in the land of the rising sun. This show has always been about friendship and sharing the love for aviation all corners of the globe. And like many great adventures, this one begins in the skies. A group of young singers from Japan called Le Velvets were on their way to Manila for several performances celebrating Filipino-Japanese friendship. As it turns out, they happened to see the show on their PAL flight from Tokyo to Manila. Being big fans of airplanes and travel, the boys got curious about this local show, reaching many different places around the world. A meeting was then arranged for them to see us in the hangar. I'm always very happy to meet young people who are interested in aviation.
Hi, welcome to Air Safari. Pleased to meet you. Welcome, welcome.
The boys excitedly look around the hangar, and I show them some of the controls of the different aircraft. If only the weather that day was clear, we could have taken one of them out for a test flight. Instead, we had to make do with having pictures taken on board the aircraft and sharing a hearty Japanese meal at the hangar cafe while swapping stories. I learned that all the boys were all products of musical education in Japan, and their group was formed after a talent search where hundreds auditioned. 5 guys, Tatsuniko, Shinichiro, Takanori, Hironobu, and Takuya, are all trained in classical music and can render performances ranging from pop to opera. Aside from their music, what brings them together is a common desire for travel and new experiences. They were very eager to learn more about the show and the places we've traveled to. So we then spent the afternoon watching some new episodes of the show. It was great meeting the guys and having them over the hangar.
Why don't you go with us to Japan? We can go out together.
I would love to do that.
Okay.
Well, thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your stay in the Philippines. Bye-bye. Arigato.
After meeting in the hangar, I was invited by the group to watch one of their shows, where they will be performing for a charity cause. Their Japanese fans came all the way to the Philippines to support their performance. The guys even learned to sing classic Filipino songs and rendered them so well, much to the crowd's delight. I must say, I became a fan myself after seeing them perform. Meeting the guys had me thinking about planning a trip to Tokyo in the summer. And with the invitation of some old friends in Tokyo, I was well on my way for another adventure in Japan. I boarded the same flight as the guys to Narita. It was a good thing Philippine Airlines flies 7 times weekly to Tokyo. On board, the guys decided to give the passengers a treat as they demonstrated their vocal range. The passengers were more than happy to witness the unexpected in-flight entertainment. Before long, we reached Tokyo and parted ways, and plan to maybe catch up in the next few days if our schedules permit. As for me, I'm meeting up with some old friends, and I can't wait for what new adventures we will be getting into. Join us after the break. I was greeted by a beautiful morning in Tokyo, with the sun shining and a cool breeze drifting through the air. What a perfect day to fly! And just my luck, because today I meet up with my friends from the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association of Japan, Tomioka-san and Noriko-san. We drove through Tokyo's busy streets to go to Chofu Airport, a small airport west of central Tokyo. We get into the hangar and discuss flight plans with Captain Tatsuo Nomura.
So we're going to take 2 airplanes into Oshima Island. Nomura-san, what route are we going to take today?
Today, we will be flying 2 planes over Tokyo Bay to reach our destination, Oshima Island, a volcanic island about 100 kilometers south of Tokyo. The planes arrived, and I was delighted to see that one of the planes we will be flying is actually a Beechcraft Debonair I painted and refurbished in Manila for Tomioka-san back in the days. The other one is a Cessna 182, which Captain Nomura will be flying. We headed out and flew side by side over Tokyo Bay, admiring the breathtaking views from above. And then, it appears, the prominent crater of Mount Miyahara, Oshima's active volcano. Its perfectly rounded basin is truly a sight to behold. We land in Oshima's airstrip and proceeded to explore this little volcanic island.
It's been a while since I was last year in Oshima. And that time it wasn't summer, so it's nice to feel this heat and the sun, even if it's hazy.
Our first stop was to get a closer view of the island's famed volcano from the ground. Carpeted with lush green vegetation, it is hard to believe that something so beautiful can be so destructive at the same time. Mount Miyahara's last major eruption was in 1986, where 12,000 residents had to be evacuated by the government. Today, it is a popular destination for its hiking trails and surrounding beaches of black sand, due to the basaltic rock the island is made of. Another thing Oshima is known for is the abundance of a rare, deep red camellia flowers throughout the island. Unfortunately, they bloom only in the cold months, and we weren't able to get a chance to see them up close. What we did was visit the Furusato Country Plaza, a craft center where guests can experience camellia oil extraction hands-on. The prized part of the camellia flower is the seed, where oil is extracted and has an even wider variety of use, from cosmetics to hair products to cooking oil, fertilizer, and even fuel. This trade has been passed on for many generations. In this small center, we can see the traditional extraction process, making use of manually powered machinery. And today, we roll up our sleeves to try the process ourselves.
Good idea, huh? So this one, where do we put this? Here.
It's amazing how much you can do with the camellia oil. Before long, the fragrant, buttery smell of the camellia seeds made us all hungry.
good.
Lunch in a coastal town means having all the fresh seafood you can have, any time of the day. And of course, the local restaurant Kiyomaru did not disappoint us. As we drove around the island, we can't help but stop and admire some of the interesting land formations by the roadside.
Oh, this is the layer of the soil. And then usually, they like that, they covered with the grasses and the trees. But to show this layer of soil, government cut to see easily.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're waving like this, right?
Right.
Like, this kind of this location of land like this, right?
Yes, it moves up.
Yeah, moves up or like this. Just in case of earthquake, they happen this location of land.
This is like pushing, huh? This
Yeah. Pushing, yeah.
And this is lava
Yeah.
from the volcanic
Yeah.
eruption.
In one of the stops on the mountains hiking trail is the Oshima Onsen Hotel. Onsen means hot springs in Japanese and refers to bathhouses typical in volcanic regions like Oshima. Onsen water is believed to be beneficial because of its high mineral content. Tomioka-san and I decided to take a dip and marvel at the views of the mountain before us. It was very invigorating to come out of the onsen after a day of touring.
Very refreshing. I really enjoyed myself. Thank you.
I'm very happy to
Arigato.
hear that.
We flew the planes back to Chofu Airport and then proceeded to a gathering of AOPA Japan members and air traffic controllers. It was great catching up with friends from AOPA Japan whom I haven't seen in a while. Some even traveled by train for hours just to see me here in Tokyo. I always feel very honored to be their guest. Tomorrow, I meet up with another group of friends, this time for my Balloon Fiesta travels. Join me as I attempt to be cultured in Japanese ways after the break. I am still enjoying summer in Japan. And rather than keeping up with its busy urban lifestyle, I decided that this may be a good time for me to slow down and get immersed in the peaceful, ceremonial traditions, something that I've always appreciated in the Japanese culture. It's a good thing I'm meeting up with some friends of mine who are more than happy to show me around the quieter side of Japan. Takakko-san, along with Topo-san and Teru-san, both pilots, are all old friends of mine whom I've been with to several travels and who always support our annual balloon fiesta. Today, they are taking me to Omiya Bonsai Village, a precinct located in Saitama Prefecture.
This is the bonsai town. About 100 years ago, they say that the people in Edo town all moved here after a big earthquake and started cultivating these plants in this area.
Yes, and in order to live this area, it's a kind of 4 rules. One of them is they should have more than 10 bonsai
Really?
individuals.
Today, it is estimated there are hundreds of thousands of bonsai pots growing in this village, tended to by independent bonsai growers. We were fortunate to be able to visit one of the independent bonsai growers in the area. Ishikawa-san was very gracious to show us his family's collection of bonsai trees.
Well, take a look at these trees. It's like a forest of small bonsai trees. They originally came from the northernmost part of Japan, which is now part of Russia, and his forefathers brought it in, and that's why this is not for sale. It's something that he collects and keeps for the legacy of his family.
The process by which these 100-year miniature trees were trained to grow a certain way sounded very tedious, but really piqued my interest because of the beauty each tree possesses. And what better way to learn about the art of bonsai growing than a visit to the Omiya Bonsai Art Museum? We were happily met by one of the museum's bonsai curators, and he walked us through galleries showcasing the best bonsais and the process by which they are made. They also had an impressive bonsai garden at the back, where their many prized trees are cared for. The museum also hosts education and training for the art of bonsai. And today, I was very excited to finally try my hand at bonsai making. As you can see, I'm really getting the hang of it and starting to enjoy myself immensely. It was really very relaxing, and I couldn't pull myself away from trimming and pruning the tree. This art form, which dates back thousands of years ago, is indeed a practice on patience, peacefulness, and tradition. Later that day, we decided to check out an old favorite place we always visit in Topasan's hometown. Hidden in a small town in Kazo City, this nondescript restaurant houses one of the oldest, authentic udon place in the area.
You just take udon, nothing else. Or you take also...
Can order side order the tempura or something.
That's normal.
Normal.
Normal. Tempura is good with udon.
Yes.
Then, our meal arrives. Udon is a type of thick noodle typical in Japanese cuisine, usually made from wheat flour. It is served with broth composed of dashi, or cooking stock, mirin, or Japanese rice wine, and soy sauce. The noodles can be served hot as noodle soup, or cold with the broth used as dipping sauce. It is usually served with another dish on the side. In this case, some tempura. Of course, still keen on observing the right manners in doing things, I had to make sure I ate udon the right way. I wouldn't want to seem impolite while I'm here. After a great meal, we then headed back to Tokyo for that evening to rest for the next day's activities. Still on my quest to be educated in Japanese traditions, we started out early the next day and headed to the quiet residential area of Maguro-ku in Tokyo to visit Mrs. Takakko Sadamura, a teacher on the delicate ceremony of the Japanese way of tea. Together with some ladies who practice this cultural activity, I was going to learn the many rituals it entails.
Over here, before we start this tea ceremony, we have to wash ourselves and make ourselves understand that we're coming from another world.
Shoes must be removed when entering the tea room.
There's a lot of procedures that I have to do before entering and before the actual tea drinking. So the first is coming in, facing my instructor, right hand first, left hand, bowing. And I should position myself to where I should be. And I bow again.
The host serves small sweets to the guests. The sweets served differ according to the season. Today, we are given sweets called water bubbles because it's the summer season. They are eaten from a special paper called kaishi. The host then cleans each utensil to be used in a precise order and with prescribed motions. They are then placed in a specific arrangement. After the ritual cleaning and preparation of utensils, the green tea powder and water is whisked in the bowl using precise movements.
Tea ceremony is supposed to be a happy occasion, but there are certain rules, and you can't talk about quarrel, rumors about other people, scandalous love, politics, and of course money.
When the tea is served, the guest must rotate the bowl to avoid drinking from its front. Take a sip, say thank you, and after finishing the tea, wipe the rim of the bowl with the thumb and rotating it back to its original position. The guest then bows to the host. Of course, I also got to try making the tea and playing host.
The most important thing is that it has to come from your heart. So either my back is too straight, my shoulders are twisted. I'm trying my best.
After everyone has taken tea, the host then cleans the utensils with extreme care and exact movements. They are then collected and kept. I learned that the ceremonies involved in the way of tea is all about being hospitable and caring to the person you are making tea for, and making sure that the tea and even the sweets being served are presented as beautifully as possible. The tea ceremony ends. I can only say,
Tadeistude itahimashita.
which means the tea was very delicious. Our next stop in my cultural immersion takes us to Yokohama, where Takakko-san will show me an old martial art form that she practices along with her friends. Her husband, Yasuo-san, with whom I have practiced kendo with in our past episodes, also trains at the dojo and was kind enough to prepare me for the right outfit for Naginata. Takakko-san and I proceed to the dojo where the class is taking place. Class begins with a warm-up exercise. This is followed by practicing the right form or kata. The Naginata weapon is a long pole with a curving blade at the end. It can be used to hit, stab, or hook an opponent. With its length, soldiers use them to make space in the battlefield and have some situational advantages over a sword because of its longer reach. If you're wondering why I'm in a dojo full of ladies, it is because in modern Japan, Naginata has become associated as a woman's weapon because of its history. When its use in the battlefield waned, the women began to use it to train themselves while their husbands are away. In other parts of the world, like Europe and Australia, Naginata is still practiced predominantly by men. Sadamura-san also joined Takakko-san and I at the dojo that day. It's amazing how these ladies can make green tea and also brandish a 7-foot weapon so effortlessly. I learned that Naginata is a good way of developing a sense of balance because both sides of the body are used and because you need to change from left to right techniques quickly, coupled with carrying the weight of the weapon. It is also a good way to get fit. And of course, the training builds discipline. This is why they recommend its practice even for small children up to senior citizens. What a workout that proved to be! I am amazed at the elderly ladies who can wield the Naginata weapon with ease and look like they can really use it effectively against an opponent. Thus ends my cultural immersion in Japanese traditions. On my last evening in Japan, I was able to get in touch with the guys from Le Velvets and was invited to visit them at their recording studio in Shibuya. Shibuya is a town known for its arts and fashion district where many young people reside. I got to see the guys in their zone, doing what they did best. Got to admire these guys for staying in the studio at this hour. Just to record personalized dedication to each fan that gets their seat.
Captain Joy-san.
Thank you again. It was very nice meeting you. We enjoy very much.
My visit to Japan has made me realize how lucky I am to have formed friendships here that have lasted for decades, and forming new ones that would hopefully last as long. Despite being a major economic power, the people I have met here live simply and go about quietly with their daily lives. Filled with passion for what they do, they dedicate their lives to the perfection of their work, with a great deal of discipline and value for tradition, even continuing them into their old age. In practicing their many art forms and traditions, I realized that in this country, you may not be able to see the immediate fruits of your effort, but you could be confident that the next generations will continue what you've passed down to them. What makes Japan a proud culture is in their manner of practicing the exact opposite. Remaining polite and humble, and just putting your heart and soul in all that you do.
This has been your captain, Joy Roa. See you in our next Air Safari! Yay!